Let's do it.
All right, we're doing it. This is Michael Devellano and Maximus Nguyen, whose name I hope I pronounce right, because I pronounce everybody's name wrong.
Absolutely right, man.
My Vietnamese is great. Is that Vietnamese?
That is Vietnamese, man.
Yeah,
and
sweet.
you are absolutely 100% correct.
I'm culturally appropriate, too.
Yes. So when you record on this, is it like split screen?
It is split screen.
Okay.
It's like two faces beside each other. So it doesn't look like this and this. It's like this. So
I got to make sure I frame myself right.
Frame yourself, because I'm all over the place like this. So
I'm
the least conscious of my appearance and sound.
No, absolutely. That's the best way to go, actually. Then you can go anywhere, do anything, say anything, and feel good about it.
I feel low standards are, the way to go. So
that's actually a debate of mine too in my own head. Is like, it's great to have really high standards, which I do, but man, it's tiring sometimes.
It's like it stops. I think for me the problem is, and this is like got nothing to do with, well, it might have something to do with what we're saying, but momentum is more important than perfection.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
progress over perfection.
I'm personally like, brute force, get it done. Otherwise, it's like, paralysis by analysis.
Right. And that's my big, one of my biggest takeaways from the conference this last weekend.
Segue.
Right, exactly right, man. Is sometimes you just have to be in action, especially if you're prone to the paralysis of analysis that I've been in the past. And the learning comes from actually taking the action and moving forward. And the process of moving forward allows you to learn as you go, adjust, and then get things done. Because the first step is always the hardest step is always the first step in doing anything, right? So
I always remember that Bill Murray movie with Richard Dreyfuss. Did you ever see that?
The one here where he annoys the heck out of him?
Yeah, he's like the one guy's a psychologist. What about Bob? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, what about Bob?
What about Bob? Right. And he talks about the baby steps. Baby steps.
It's a great movie.
But I think for me personally that, that's when you go see an event like that, and we just came through this like 60-day process, and I think you expect magic to happen.
Right.
And for me, I think it did accomplish a lot of things, or I did, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that was because of the momentum. And also, it was nice to have the supportive group, the people that you can get feedback from. So those were big wins, I think, on their own.
Absolutely.
And then if I look at productivity-wise, there was stuff. So there's obviously things that came out of that. But
I use the analogy of like planting a seed, right? If you're a gardening analogy, you may not think that coming out of something that big that all of a sudden, like, deals aren't dropping in your lap, or, you see this massive amount of change. That's not how life typically happens. You go to an event like this, or you learn something brand new. It starts percolating inside of your mind and your body, and you start making micro adjustments, right? Just a shift in a mindset, a shift in a belief system. You start doing tiny things differently, right? That over time, all of a sudden creates an avalanche of momentum for you down the road somewhere. It could be as quick as, a week, 2 weeks, a month, or it could be as long as, years or decades. You just don't know. And part of what I believe is that you just need to take in the information. You need to think and then slowly start executing one by one what you learn over time. You can't execute all 50, 100 things that you learn at once.
True.
Because then, one, if you don't take the time to really know where you are going, you could be executing down a road that you end up and you look back and go, why the heck am I here? Right? So
that's true. So I think there's two parts to this for us, because we were in the VIP ambassador program,
right?
And we were going through this weekly coaching call, and then the Facebook group, and then online training. So there's a lot of stuff going on, right? And then I think there was that could be distracting and become tasks in itself. But I think out of that, we had very positive communication that I think helped me get what I needed out of it. It was like, listen, this is my program. It's not yours anymore. Like, I don't want to do stuff that you're telling me. I want to figure out what I need. If I looked at the big wins, and I don't even know if my video is perfect, but I think it was like, I had written the book already. I had done, kind of booked my events to go promote it. I got some attention in the group for the book, and that really helped.
Sure.
Launched a podcast in 7 days, which I put the video up to explain how I did that. So hopefully that helps other people as well. Absolutely. I think in that time we identified together, like, and I knew this deep down, it was my fear really to bring other people into my business around business development. And a lot of that was around training and management. And I think this helped with that because these are guys that had already bit on the sales message.
Right.
So I think that was positive for me. And then I brought in, woo, baby.
Bless you, man.
Yeah, someone's talking about me.
Yeah.
I brought in 2 guys. So I think those were big wins. And I got to give you a lot of thanks for that because I think, you kind of at least gave me probably the first real human feedback that was really useful to me.
Sure, no, absolutely.
So I think those are all big wins. And I don't know, what was kind of your takeaway during the group that, when you kind of go back and dissect it?
By far, the group, just that network. And then, dude, I'm like the same way as you did. I'm not in my real day job production wise. I also increased production by a good amount, but it wasn't because of the 2 months that we were in the mentor program. I mean, I've been following Grant for the last 2 years, 2.5 years, going on 2.5 years now. I took Cardone University in 2016.
Oh, you
throughout
did?
the year.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
So, I mean, this is my second time around Cardone University.
Okay, that's
master objections and closing.
Yeah.
And so the success I had in November, December, January was, like I said, seeds that were planted almost a year and a half before then. Right, that culminated in the watering and the cultivating of my skill set in sales up to that point. Right, so obviously, though, I can tell you the 2.5 months that we were part of the mentor program, the biggest thing I got out of it was just taking massive action. So I'm learning that I'm getting more comfortable with taking more action and pushing myself more than I would normally, and meeting guys like you, being able to now literally go across the country,
right?
Post something online.
I was already
say,
going,
hey, right? Hey, yeah. I'm going to be in New York. I'm going to be in LA, Los Angeles, Texas.
Which I'm in both
Austin,
of those.
Seattle,
all
right?
of those.
Exactly. Every major metropolitan area. Now I can link up with someone there, mastermind with them at any one time. Dude, I love that.
That's a huge part. I agree.
That's a huge part. And then I started a podcast too with Nathan Scannell.
Right, the Triple Thread. Yeah.
Triple Thread podcast. We launched today our 5th episode with Brian Nunez, incredible guy.
Sweet.
Physical
He's a
training.
fitness guy, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, fitness, FNS training out of Santa Clara, but homeboy is like super clear on his mission and his goal. And so we got 7 in the can recorded. We have 3 more lined up. So I mean, it's momentum building right now, right? And I've always wanted to do a podcast, and here we are doing a recording with you and I.
Right.
If it wasn't for the group,
that's a big breakthrough because I think when I look back, I probably thought about. I know I got to do video, but I wouldn't. I would do it in spurts,
Right.
Right. I mean, for me, I just recorded episode 17 in the last 40 days, dude. I almost kind of let myself down because I was like, I was going to do 30 and 30.
Right,
which I probably could have, but it's for me, it's been, if you look at the guests that I've had and the people that are in my network, I focused on 2 things. One, I started with people that I was that I knew were hitters, right?
Right.
In kind of the startup, automation world, stuff that I talked about. A couple people from the group, a couple people I knew already. And then, but what I did is I was really focused. I prospected. So Quan, one of the guys that joined me in my group, the first tasks I gave him was to cultivate a list of the Silicon Beach startups, the top 100 in LA, and then Silicon Alley startup founders in New York. And we developed that LinkedIn prospecting process through that. So the one that I published where it's like LinkedIn, email sequence, and then follow-up call if possible, right? The response we got was phenomenal. So we got really good people to come back, like legit people doing really interesting things that nobody knows about.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then of course, I tied it in where they're referring other people. So to me, that network is not something like 70 days ago. It didn't exist for me.
Exactly. And it was from the seeds of our conversation, bringing on new clients, and then this group, and just watching everybody, start taking action. It almost like when the power of the herd is pretty powerful. When the herd starts running, you got to start running as well, or you're going to get left behind, right?
That's very true.
And so that was the biggest thing, is just being around, people who are like-minded, pushing and doing some good stuff, man, and getting together and doing stuff like this. There's power in getting together.
I agree. I think that sense of community has been really positive. Now, I will say, I don't know, I think something has to change there. I know we've tried to keep the band together, but I almost feel like we need to break off into little masterminds or something, and then maybe come back as a bigger group. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I agree with you there, because we almost need to niche down together, so that there's groups of us that are doing something that are either complementary, or our personalities, gel with each other to push each other in different ways, right? And then to have daily type of accountability. I can tell you, looking back at the mentor program, one thing that Grant probably didn't anticipate was just the self-policing and daily accountability that everybody gave to each other.
The positivity too, it's such an underrated thing. Like, I think just of how it took over my Facebook feed, remade that. And then being in the group where there was no sniping, there were no different agendas. Everybody had the same philosophy, and they were learning similar skills, right? So that education piece too, even if you're building a company, or I am, that was obvious, right? It doesn't have to be like a book. It's got to be, here's what we stand for, here's something we learned, and then you document it, and then the next guy's come in and learn, right? So I think that was really interesting for me to learn.
Exactly. And so one of the biggest problems that I see, the biggest challenges I see trying to start any type of program, coaching, whatnot, is that even meeting once a week is not enough. You need that daily, habit forming accountability, so that, so if we were to do something, so one of my ideas is so I'm on this mission, right? To help people create unshakable confidence, so that they can go out into life, approach any situation, any business decision, personal decision, with just, clarity and conviction.
Clarity and conviction.
Yeah, clarity and conviction, right? So part of the three things that I talk about is, the first thing that you need to do is to define your core values, right? What you stand for, what you believe in, what you'd be willing to give your life for, right? Joan of Arc said that if you believe in little or nothing, you will give your life for little or nothing. Right? And so you need to define. Are you saying
we've been giving our life for little or nothing?
Exactly right. Doesn't that sound so man?
I think I have a really simple core value. Freedom.
Yeah.
And that, anytime I hear people talk in a collective way, I basically want to smash them, one way or the other, right?
For sure.
I'm willing to sit there and debate you, scrap with you, whatever, because I know you're wrong. Anything that you're saying that's limiting me or yourself, I'm probably going to disagree with you.
Right. So my challenge for you is that I don't necessarily think that you believe that they're wrong as much as you may not believe that it is right for you.
Of course, yeah. But see, as a friend of mine famously said, crazy is contagious. So if you're hanging around me, you are wrong if you're talking that way. And so you either don't hang around me or change what you're saying.
There you go.
Simple.
And so knowing your core values, knowing what you're what you're living for every day, right? We're living, and then we're also dying every day, because we all have an expiration date. So every day we're dying. So what are we giving our life for?
Right. That makes sense.
So, and then the second thing is to just always be leveling up and skilling up, getting better every day. Because once you learn skills, then you can just like, Tom Brady and elite athletes, right? The reason why they're so good is they study film, they practice, and so they go into game situations and they can almost predict what's going to happen before it happens, so that they can actually make a decision on that. And that's life, and whatever you go through business, through me, or through personal life. If you kind of understand the certain scenarios that might come up and you plan for it, it's not always going to be perfect, right? But if you have some idea of a game plan of what to do, then you can make confident steps make confident decisions.
See, it's really it's interesting, and this reminded me. And I wrote down Coach Bradley here, and this is going to the event where Michael Bradley. I spent a little time talking to him, and then we saw him talk, obviously, and part of his background is I think he was a high school basketball coach, right? Was
Coach Burt? You mean Michael Burt?
Burt, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Burt.
Bradley's like.
Yeah, Bradley was someone else. Coach Burt, Michael Burt. I apologize. And I don't know if you know, but like I don't know if you know that I'm a coach. Does anybody know that?
No, nobody. If I don't know, then nobody knows, man.
What was really interesting listening to him, and this goes to the event, was he was talking about his background as like a high school basketball coach, right?
Sure.
And now he's like a business coach. And I'm like, I coached at a pretty high level for a long time in hockey.
Oh, really?
And I've been a director of coaching for 3 years. So I've been building coaches, right?
Right.
And I have a sense of control when I'm in hockey, when I'm on the bench or I'm building a team by recruiting players. Like, I know more than anybody. That's kind of like the way I feel. And I'm above that. And I feel very confident that I can dictate the outcome. I can outcoach the other coach. I can out-prepare my team. And I have that map in my head. And I think that what was interesting when listening to him and it clicked in my head, I'm like, this is a story I'm not telling anybody. I've divided my life into 2 careers, which is my business career and then my coaching career. And I feel that, the confidence that I have over here and the ability to dictate things, not up until recently probably, wasn't completely translated to the same extent. Probably never will be, just based upon what I do over here.
Sure.
But
there's probably a little overlap in translation.
And this is, I think, where I was like kicking myself, because I think the one thing I realized is I'm good at building teams. I'm good at picking talent. I'm good at coaching and giving people the ability to succeed. I hate when people micromanage me and I shut down. And so what's weird is that I think I got to the point over the last couple of years where I was micromanaging my own behavior. And I think that crushed me. So I self-crushed. And then I think the reason I didn't bring people in is because that my attitude towards them was that I couldn't trust them and that I would probably micromanage them out.
Interesting.
So I think one of the great insights that I had was, wait a second, you are a legit coach and you're building coaches. Why is this not translating? This is a skill you should be using in your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of silly, right?
Yeah. We sometimes forget that, where other areas of our life we have success, we feel like it may be separated. And one of the things that I admire about Grant Cardone is he's fully integrated his entire life.
That's the thing, too. Right? You're exactly. Like, there's no subdivision, right?
There's no subdivision at all. How he approaches success in his family life and the 10X massive action is how he approaches it in business and relationships and everything that he does. So that's why that integration is in alignment is so key, right?
It's part of your story. And I think that,
exactly, man.
I don't know what's on your LinkedIn, but I've got another resume.
Oh, you got 2 resumes?
Well, I really do. I have a hockey resume.
Okay.
Like, my hockey resume is not a joke. Like, if you look, people see my resume and they go, wow, I had no idea, or that's really good. What are you looking to do, right?
Right.
And I guess what clued in when I was listening to Coach Bird is I'm like, he has no more credentials than I do. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I probably have, I've probably achieved things that he hasn't at a different level, different sport. I've coached basketball, but I mean, what I've done in hockey is probably at a higher level than he has. And he's a phenomenal coach.
Right.
And he's built a phenomenal business around that, right? So I'm like, what's holding me back? It's just me. It's this idea that these two things don't intersect.
And they do.
They absolutely do.
They absolutely do. Like, sports is so the things that we learn to get better in sports is the activities, the training, the practice,
the repetition,
the
level of competition,
the will to win.
Exactly.
I mean, every single one of those elements translates into the business world.
And I apologize, I'm just looking something up that I'll share with you. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I would not separate them anymore, Michael.
No, it's a mistake.
And I see you light up, right, talking about it. So
see, this is the other thing that the conversation that goes on in my head, and this is personal, obviously, but is that I know what I should have been doing by this point in that sport. And I've done a lot. and I'm not at a insignificant spot, but
right.
I'm super ambitious about it, it's bad.
Okay.
Because it's like I have two big ambitions. One is to be a successful entrepreneur, and one is to be a successful general manager coach.
Okay.
So it's like I have not had the success that I want in either to drop one or the other. So
well,
I'm like,
take massive action on both.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think what I realize is people look at how much I do, and I'm like, it's not enough yet. And I have more energy to do more. So this is funny. I got the reason I wanted to pull this up was, I don't know if you can see this, but this is someone. We were at dinner one time a few months back, and he said, "This is your personal brand."
Hockey author. There you go, man. and the intersection of the three is you.
Yeah, and if you look, he says your brand. So I think I was like, I laughed about it at the time, but now I realize that's probably my brand.
That is your brand, for sure.
That's funny.
And the third and final pillar I want that's part of my mission on Unshakable Confidence. Oh no worries. Is taking massive, consistent action. Right, once you develop your core values, once you learn all these skills, if you don't apply it, if you don't go out in the field and throw that first pass, or in your case, slap that first hockey stick and puck into the goal, nothing's going to happen in your life, right? So
let's go back. What are the three? So the first one,
know your core values.
Core values,
right? Skill up. I call it skill up.
Yep.
Every day.
Yep. Every day.
And then massive, consistent action.
Love it.
Right? You can't just take massive action for a while and then expect that success to ride on. That's the mistake I make all the time. Is I'll go through spurts of like 2 months, 3 months, whatever, a year of huge, massive action, and then I'll throttle back, right? And then kind of ride the laurels of my success instead of like piling and compounding that success by keeping the throttle on.
It's so crazy because when I'm in sports, I do exactly the opposite, like where I will not ever throttle back. My theory is always I'm going to do so much more that I'm going to destroy the other team.
Exactly.
And
right,
that becomes like a cult in the team, not a cult, but it's like, it becomes
an
a
obsession.
Mantra. It's an obsession and a focus. And if I look at the kids that I've coached that were 13, then they're 14, they're 15, now they're like, in this one organization, now they're 16 and 17, and they're still playing.
Yeah.
And most guys quit at 15, but they still have the bug because they understand that there's a path, right?
Right, man.
And I think I just need to translate that to business.
Integrate.
And so I guess what I wanted to ask you was around these three parts of your mission, right? Mm-hmm. What is your method, or what's your thoughts on delivery of that? How are you going to deliver that to the world?
That's a great question, man. So definitely through my personal brand and podcasting at first. I'm actually going to do a separate episode where Nathan, my fellow podcast co-host, is going to talk about how to build unshakable confidence, and we'll talk about that. The second thing is I'm going to start at the local level here in my area to do more speaking, like in-person type of speaking engagements to smaller groups.
Yep. I
want to build the brand in my backyard first. And then doing stuff like this with other fellow podcasters and social media guys who are trying to push out there, and just consistently pushing out this message. The one thing the other thing I learned from the 10X Growth Conference from Hank Norman, right, is that you got to be telling a consistent story, and you can't try to help everybody with everything when you're trying to put out your brand. Right. So my sole focus that I look back on my life and what the biggest struggles that I had to overcome in order to push through. And one of these other times I can tell you a story that I can relate of being raised by a single mother and not having a father, and how that helped shape my uncertainty and lack of self-confidence as a teenager, and then evolving and getting into a place where I learned how to build personal self-confidence, and just meeting mentors like Tony Robbins, taking courses like Franklin Covey, and learning about Benjamin Franklin and all that process, and how to go through that process. So, and then local speaking, and then just social media stuff like this, and then consistently talking about it all the time, relating everything back to these three pillars and to this subject matter of unshakable confidence. Right? If you look at Grant, all he talks about is sales. I mean, that's like all he talks about. But from that methodology, and this is why integration is so key, and why for you hockey and everything when you talk about it, is like, what is one thing in the skills that you learned from hockey and coaching hockey that you can really talk about and then integrate in, and then like that's your entire message everywhere. And you can talk about everything, but it all like pins back right down to the subject of what you're talking about. So for Grant, it's sales. Everything comes back to sales and money, right? So
all freedom. And that's freedom. It was interesting to hear him talk about Cardone Capital as being the ultimate destination. So it's like he realized he had this to deliver, but there was an end in mind, which was bigger, right? Which is I want a big part of this funnel. You're part of his sales funnel. Get my methodology, get my training, go out and be able to make control part of your life and get some money. And I want you to level up, and I want you to level up with me so that I can level up.
Exactly. Invest with me.
It was interesting to hear him talk about that. I know you're on tight time, but a couple things I wanted to bounce off of you.
Yeah, I got till 45, man.
I thought you said 40. So. Okay, so you got 9 minutes. I'm conscious of your time.
I'll have to rush.
Yeah, don't.
To get to my but
okay,
I got it. 45 was good.
Okay, good. So all right. So I like what you're talking about doing local speaking. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be announcing my first big event for the year. So I'm doing a whole bunch of little ones, but my big event is going to be called Startup and Grow in Los Angeles on March the 9th, or May the 19th.
May 19th? Okay.
May 19th. So my goal there is to have around 200 people.
Okay.
When I talked to David, that's where I got Bradley from. David Bradley from Grant Cardone's group was like, yeah, do 1,000.
You mean David Brownlee?
No, David Bradley. He's the marketing.
The
marketing sales manager for Grant Cardone.
Oh, got it. Okay.
He works on Jared's group. He was like the second guy there with Jared. He said that Grant was running things from his pool house then.
Wow.
2011.
Yeah, I mean, incredible what he's been able to build.
6.5, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? It's gone from running a sales training CD-based business out of his pool house in Beverly Hills to what it is now, which is massive, right? So I'm
gonna the real estate income cash flow to back him up, though. That's
yeah. But he was broke at the time because all this stuff went in the, like everybody else. So Startup and Grow. I want to invite you. Okay, yeah. I want you to invite you to come. So if you want, you tell me what you want to do there. We can talk offline.
Okay.
I'm going to do a second major event, which is Automate and GrowthCon, which is in September.
Okay.
So I believe the date of that will be September 12th. These are both full days. So one is aimed at... Is
it a Saturday? What major?
Yeah, Saturdays. Yeah, they're both Saturdays.
Okay.
So we can talk about it. I love what you're talking about speaking, and I had this idea in my head, which is a book called Do, Don't Doubt.
Do, Don't Doubt. Okay.
Right? Take action.
Oh, Do, Don't Doubt. Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
Do, Don't Doubt.
Right.
So I want you to think about it, because I think what you're talking about, those core values, there's something in there. And if you're interested in talking to me about it, I'd like to talk to you about writing it together. Absolutely, man. Let's do it. Let's record this publicly. I'm in. Do, Don't Doubt. Do, Don't Doubt. And then I want to know. I'm going to help you with the title a little bit more, man. I'm a copywriter, so you don't like that. It's Do, Don't Doubt. So it doesn't elicit a visceral emotion, right? Doesn't? So you don't think so? Okay. It's catchy from an what do you call it? An anagram type of methodology, right? Oh, you're thinking alliteration or something? Or? Yeah, there you go. My vocabulary is bad, but alliteration is what I was talking about. But I'll give you an example, right? So earlier today, a person from our group had a book called like Inside Out Sales. I saw that. Yeah. Right? James. I called him up. Yeah, James, and I told him, look, if I saw that book on a bookshelf, I would just browse through it. Mm-hmm. But if I saw a book that said Complete Sales Domination, I would pick that book up. There you go. Right? Domination has a visceral, like to be dominated, has a visceral feeling, right? Words like murder, domination, execute, right? When you want to try to incorporate those words into titling and headlines in book titles, because it like captures relentless, killer, right?
you got to have that to grab attention.
The emotion, I get it. That makes sense. So it's an action emotion.
I think almost do, don't, doubt is a subtitle to the main title.
That makes sense. That's a good point. You get the theme though.
No, I get the theme. Let's talk about it offline. Let's do it, man. You want to try to get it out before May 19th? Or like commit to get it out May 19th?
We could do it.
Let's do it, man.
If it's two of us, I mean,
it should
take 15 days.
Yeah, man. I got my subject matter down, right? I mean,
yeah.
The core values that I developed, I'm 40 now. I wrote them down in 2004, which was 14 years ago, right? I'm like, I was 26.
I was worried about your math for a second there,
man. 26, right? 14, 40.
You can't even get it out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right?
That's good.
Yeah, I'm Asian, man. My math is strong. Yeah, exactly right.
All right, so those are the things I want. You know what? You got 4 minutes because I know you got another thing to go to, and I probably do too. What was your favorite part of the GrowthCon in Las Vegas?
By far, the people, man. The VIP room. You know, the upgrading to VIP was worth it just for to be in that room with those people at that caliber, concentrated in one place. I met another business owner out of New York. They started a website and a company called Golf Pro Delivered, and basically they were golf pros at a golf shop, a golf course, and they got together to do these portable like golf, like digital golf events that you can take them and they build them up. It's like super portable. They have a patent pending. They got in front of Kevin Harrington, the original shark. To pitch him, he bought into he like wanted to be part of the partner. They didn't like his deal, so they didn't take his money. But they're up and running. They're a year and a half, and they're about to be profitable this year.
And you're interested in them as like just someone to associate with or learn from?
Yeah, to associate. I had dinner with them. I had breakfast with the owner, and then I had dinner with. I ran into him at dinner one night at the GrowthCon, and we started talking more. I helped them with their sales pitch. One of the other things strong at is like my sales pitch is strong as far as like deconstructing a sales process and then overcoming objections. I'm strong on that now. I still have some room to call myself a master, but I'm getting really good.
All respect to Grant Cardone. Like I think I'm going to put my own material together. For no other reason than I want my guys to talk the way that is helpful to them in our industry.
Right.
There's new ideas too, right?
Right. No, absolutely. I think you take the structure and then you build your own wording around it, right? And the biggest thing that I learned from sales is certainty is a key element in making a decision on both parties.
Right.
And we'll talk about that more, man. Maybe we have a follow-up podcast together where we talk about sales in general and the sales process.
Oh, man, sales dogs.
I got a lot to spit about sales.
Is sales dogs taken?
Sales talks? I don't know.
No, or sales dogs.
Sales dogs.
What did they used to call us? They used to call us the concrete eating dogs. My buddy and I was like, they're concrete eating dogs. We're like, we'd figure out a way.
Nice.
Awesome. We weren't mean or anything. We just got it done.
So let's do it May 19th, huh?
Yeah, May 19th. I'm locking down the venue right now. So
okay. My daughter's birthday the next day, but I can
man.
get home. It's in LA, so I mean I can fly home late that night.
All right.
Because you're gonna do like an 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or something like that. I can fly home at night.
I was thinking like 9 till 4, 8 till 4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I mean I can easily fly home, make my daughter's birthday.
Yep.
So let's do it. Let's talk offline, man.
All right, sweet. Okay, I know you got to go. You got 1 minute. Did you invest in anything?
I actually did.
What'd you get?
I invested in Naveen Jain's biome.
You did?
So I gotta go home, do my stool sample and all that stuff, and send it in. And
I've got to follow up with Naveen because he said he would do my podcast.
Oh, dude, follow up.
I know. I sent him an email like he said, but I'm gonna send it from a bunch of other email addresses.
Yeah, follow up and then send them pictures of. Did you get the vial?
I didn't. No, I didn't even talk to them. I probably should have. That's probably a mistake.
Because what you could have done was taken Instagram photos of you like going through the process of like, getting the sample, not showing your stool or anything, but like going through the process of doing, because there's like also a metabolic like blood sampling that you do and stuff like that. So
I gotta, you know what? I will follow up on that. I gotta look at that. I totally didn't even think of doing that. I was so focused on. I gave Tim Grover a book,
right?
He let me sign for him. Because I love Relentless, amazing book.
Yeah.
And then he said, give me your number, because I told him, whatever you need help with, Tim, these are things I'm good at.
Right.
So he goes,
cool.
I need help with that. So, and then I got Grant on day one to talk to him, and I had pre-signed that book because I think I told you he did that podcast with Chandler Bolt on the self-publishing podcast. Right. And that's what, on July 4th when it aired, I was like, oh, I got to write my damn book. I got to finish this. This is no longer an idea. This is like, because he said he did his first book in 3 days.
Yeah, the Sell or Be Sold.
So I thanked him for that.
Locked himself in the room and locked it up. So,
right. But I think after day one, he was done. So I got to him early, thank goodness. But all right, man, thank you very much for jumping on with me. I'm excited. We got a few things we can talk about, and I hope you have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thanks.